Alright, we've got a lot of stuff to actually open up. Maybe starting out with this big one. So, as we've learned, it's a smile, so the top is up here. And it is falling apart, but the important thing is it was sealed when it arrived, and it's got a handful of anime in it. Let's set that on the boobies there. No, that's a very unstable place to set them. Okay, well let's try to make it headway. Let's open this Right Stuff package, which contains a receipt, which I will discreetly toss to the top there. Then I'll put over here. Got another Right Stuff Shipuminto. There's a receipt to discreetly remove. Oh, cool. Yeah, okay, that's that one. Why don't we continue opening the anime related ones and do this first, because if you don't recognize the red means that's a limited run games package. Whoop. And let's move this giant ass pile here. And then open the last package. Trying to decide how to best open this one. Maybe there. Yeah, close enough. I should be able to get it out. Whoop. Oh, and a card. Because I think this is an official limited run. And let's not leave it just there, because I also got these. But let's begin with the limited run game part. This is Momodora. I'm not going to pretend to try to read that. Single player. Look kind of cutesy, platformy, I think. It's hard to remember. I decided, yeah, I'll give it a shot. At a minimum, I'll be adding something very anime-esque to my collection. But it also feels like it doesn't have the same style as a lot of my other anime sort of stuff. And I'm just going to take a peek on the inside because, you know, might as well. We got the little card, we got the little manual, because this is limited run games and they are all about the physical release. We got this card, which is a limited run card, which I guess I always put those in there. Next up, I've got Godzilla. I think this should be Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters. So, I don't remember this one particularly wowing me as a movie per se. It had, I think it had some moments in it that were kind of neat. I remember the story of the humans, like there were flaws with it, and ultimately it was, oh, giant monsters are going to have sex and out-reproduce us. And I don't know, that was kind of an icky problem that was also with the old Matthew Broderick Godzilla. Because, you know, there were other things about that movie that were neat that I could understand liking, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, most people don't like it, and, you know, that's because there's a lot of cringy stuff about it. Maybe I have a tolerance for cringe or something like that. I don't know. It's just a DVD version of it. I went simple with this one, because, you know, I couldn't remember too well how well I like that. But Godzilla King of the Monsters. Well, I haven't seen this, but I learned recently that it was a continuation or a sequel to that. And I could see from the trailers why people really liked it. Or rather, were excited for it. I see that there's a divide in the critics in terms of, or in the ratings, in that critics rate it pretty bleh, but audience rates it pretty good. And you know what? I'm like, whatever. It looked interesting enough that I was interested in checking it out. I got an online friend who convinced me to give it a shot. I mean, he talked about it more like I could just watch it online, but you know, y'all know me, Mr. Buy a physical copy. Now, I'm opening this on screen mostly because I wanted to make sure this had a DVD with it, because when I purchased it, it didn't list the DVD listing. So I have a DVD sitting over there that I'm probably going to give to one of my brother or his friends when they show up. I don't know. But let's get to the main course, the anime. And on the top here we have Kampfer, which I did know got re-released recently, but I missed that it was an English dub. I was thinking it said that there, but actually it says it up here. Oof. And, well, okay, yeah, I have it. As you can see, English dub, Region A, 12 episodes and 2 VAs on 2 discs. Yeah. Based on the back, it sounds like the general premise of this anime is guys turn into girls or something like that. Maybe it's just one guy turns into a girl, maybe it's some weird mix. I don't know. I'm definitely curious because I didn't know what the premise was before, and I'm like, oh, well, that could be fun. But what do they do with it? I don't know. But now there's a dub version of it, and you got 2 discs. And thanks to the reminder, I wish I could remember the name of the subscriber that did it, but honestly, everything's passing in real fast. Now, this is Lupin the Third, Goemon's Blood Spray. I think this is actually slated to be released at the end of this month, but technically I pre-ordered this because I wasn't finding a copy on Amazon. Or I ordered this from Right Stuff because I didn't find a copy on Amazon, and Right Stuff had that in stock, so it's like, yeah, there we go. Instead of this thing being plus shipping, I could put the 2 of them together, which were both in stock. Make sure I get my copy of this, even if it shows up a little early, you know, like a month early. But also get that. That one's important. This one, I mean, this one's important in terms of, that's weird. You notice there's no sticker here. How very un-Eastern Star Discotheque of Eastern Star Discotheque. Anyways, let's see. I see an English dub. Subtitles. Do I see an A there, suggesting this is Region A only. Okay, cool. Ooh, different thing on the inside. I like it when the artwork gets to differ like that. That's pretty cool. That was upside down. There's the disc. And here's the invertible cover in case you want the cover to be same on the inside and the outside. I don't know who you are, you filthy, stinking monsters. But, yeah, you have that option. Kemono Friends, complete first season. So this one's definitely been a big curiosity. I'm kind of surprised. I thought it was at least big name enough that one of the other big companies would get it, but, you know, good for Eastern Star Discotheque. Once again, none of the things. What? I thought this was subtitle only, but looks like they got an English dub. Well, that introduces a dilemma because I have to decide which I want to watch then. I see it's Region A, 12 episodes on 2 discs. Basically, if you're not familiar with this anime, I think one of the testaments to its impact are that probably one of the most common themes of avatars on VR chat, I guess, if you were to try to categorize them. Well, that's probably the answer is probably Nanachi's from Made in Abyss, but second to that is Kemono Friends. There's also a lot of variations on Northern Ocean Hime and Kana-chan from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but Kemono Friends is kind of liked in that regard. And then of course like I think we've got penguins there maybe. We did have the one penguin in the zoo that fell in love with a cardboard cutout of the penguin girl from here. I'm pretty sure there's more than one. And you know, it's kind of nice to finally get a chance to see it myself. Assuming of course that these discs don't blow up and melt on me, that would suck. Really? But, for the most part, that's Kemono Friends. It's finally out here in the States on DVD Blu-ray. Or, rather, just Blu-ray. But, I'm looking forward to it. Next up we have Nagasarete Airanto. I don't pretend to know what this even is. You know, I just order absolutely everything that I see listed. Unless I'm like, oh, I already have that, and then I am dumb, and it turns out that it was something that was being redubbed, and I should have noticed. But, you know, I don't even... Nagasarete Airanto? What the fuck is even up with this name? I'm honestly a little confused. So I guess part of moving to the new manufacturer meant that they're not doing that anymore, which is probably a good thing. You know, a lot of other people moved away from it. It doesn't really make a difference for online stuff. This one says it's Japanese audio, region A, 26 episodes on 2 discs. So is this, well, no, I guess it doesn't say it's standard definition. For a while there, I did not think that was a pig, and I think y'all know exactly what I was like gasping about, although I didn't actually gasp out loud. Anyways, then there's a new Cutie Honey on Blu-ray. I do believe I already have this on DVD, and a DVD release was done of this, so I stuck with, yeah, that's what I thought. They have a little plastic thing like this, and I've been, stickers on the top. I'm a pleb. How pleb of me. Anyways, new Cutie Honey. Let's take this top sticker off. Sticker stickler. I have unsealed the unholy anime. Not really. Although the guy's stuff does tend to be a little more provocative, I guess. Not even necessarily sexually provocative, but there's things along those lines. Anyways, English dub, region A, 8 episodes on Uno disc. Same on the inside and the outside. Yeah. Desperate face. New Cutie Honey on Blu-ray. Also released on DVD if y'all didn't pick up any of the old stuff. Next up, Kakuriyo, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits, Part 2, episodes 14 through 26. And we have to see if there's a sexy firework under this sticker. Ooh. Actually, that one's kind of neat. You know, not that this one's not neat, but the finer detail on that one is kind of neat. On the back, regions A and B, with an English dub, which may be very consistent with the previous release of this. I'm not seeing anywhere on here where it says what the extras are, so let's just go. Blu-ray. It's the Blu-ray. I already feel a loose disc, that's why I'm opening very carefully. That, and now we put that aside. So, disc 3, disc 4. It's a really nice character arc, or art. Not really sure where my priorities lie in terms of wanting to watch this. There's just so much stuff. I mean, already this week, I mean, one thing y'all might have noticed that is definitely not in the pile that shipped late. Might have just shipped earlier today, but and blah blah blah. This art club has a problem. Definitely look kind of cute. Like, I want to give this anime a shot. The story of youth meets the arts. Although it is one of those where it sounds like it's a slice of life where it's heavily dependent on if that slice hits you just right. And sometimes I find that they don't. This is Japanese with English subtitles only. Region A only. Extras. Special features. Clean opening and closing animations. Alright. Disc 1. Disc 2. Straightforward. Looks nice. Ooh. Ace Attorney. Season 2, Part 1, Episodes 1 through 12. And a sexy something hiding under here. Oh, it's not wanting to come off. There we go. Oh, it's not wanting to come off. Man, it is being a piece of shit. It is really being a piece of shit. Let's pull from another corner. Go around the top like this. Oh, there we go. I guess there was a sexy little paper rip. Actually, I guess you could also say, what's his face? Legs. What's his name? Does it start with T or something like that? I don't know. I kind of remember some of the awesome stuff of this one. Or that this game would have been based off of. Region A, DVD, English dub. I was having trouble reading this. The Promised Neverland and Persona 5. It's like, what? Persona 5's in here. What the fuck? But no, that's the people who made that. And I am not breaking through this plastic. Oh, there I am. See, I've got the long enough thumbnail because I haven't clipped it yet. It is right there on the verge of definitely want to clip it. What's Pearl doing there? And why does she look like she's pissed off? Wasn't she in the previous one? At the very end? I kind of remember that. But I don't remember it too well. Anyways, Blu-ray Part 1. Does it say disc somewhere on here? Because I see the episodes 1 through 9 plus special. I mean, you can kind of figure out that that's disc 1. This is disc 2 because it's got episodes 10 through 12 on it. And then this one is DVD Part 1, episodes 1 through 6. And DVD Part 1, disc 2. Oh, interesting. Did you have him in the front for both the Blu-rays and then him in the back for both the DVDs? It did. So as you can see, he's all over the cover there. Him in his sexy Cyclops mask. Oh, let's not forget to put this back in there. Assuming it will stop catching in a weird way. This is an interesting one. Tatami Galaxy. I remember people saying they wondered if it would even ever be brought here to the States. Well, it's finally here. And probably the more interesting thing is that I do believe this is a Funimation release. Yeah, that says Funimation right there. Which means this isn't like, oh, actually, let's look at the back. This isn't like Discotheque Eastern Star mopping up anime that nobody else is touching. So, Region A, Japanese with English subtitles, which makes sense. Own the complete uncut version, including 3 special episodes. Yeah, it sounds scary. But this is from Masaaki Yuasa. I do believe he made Kick Art, if I'm remembering correctly, on different cover art. And if you're not familiar with Kick Art, it was the first Kickstarter funded anime where it wasn't intended to be like a super extensive, really expensive anime will definitely be funded this way, but it was intended to get people interested. Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2, DVD 1, DVD 2. Anyways, I don't know what to expect of it. It as a title was notable at the time it came out, I thought. Oh well. You can see next up is Yokai Watch, Season 1, Volume 2. I don't know if there's anything to really report. It's Yokai Watch. And again, I watched part of Part 1, and I can tell you that it kind of started off weird. Not necessarily bad, but more like, I don't know what to think about this. And then once Man-Faced Nut was there, I was kind of realizing, okay, this show kind of has its own style of humor. It works at an interesting level. You gotta respect people who enjoy it because it just worked. Looks like that's a disc 1. That's a disc 2. Nice and simple. I don't know if it continues to stay interesting, if it gets neat, if it gets bleh. Anyways, let's finish up with Gravitation, complete collection on Blu-ray. Now this was released on DVD before by ADV a long time ago, I think. I think there might have also been a DVD release of this, but I didn't think there was anything new. I'm pretty sure it was dubbed way back when. I am having trouble getting its plastic to come off. It is being very stubborn. There we go. So looking at the back, we should have an English dub. Audio, English. OVA, English. We have a Region A. Subtitles in English. 385 minutes and 3 discs. Love is the one force that simply won't be denied. Anyways. You have Gravitation. And at 385, I'm trying to remember if there was more than one season, if this is only a first season, plus an OVA or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, here's this week's anime DVD collection update.
Alright, now last week I guess I didn't watch anything, but the week before that I had started watching Island, so I made sure to push through and finish it. And push through doesn't mean like I thought the anime was unwatchable. Push through means instead of letting myself get distracted and do other things, I had a nice 3-day weekend. I got pretty well rested, even though I did a little work. But Island was definitely one. I wanted to finish it because I kind of had questions what it was trying to do, what it was like, how I could describe it, things like that. So it's hard to say for certain what all I thought about it, because there were definitely neat things about it, neat things about a lot of the characters and interactions. It kind of reminded me of Air, but a little more, maybe just a hint more cynical, a little less bittersweet maybe. And I don't know if that's a really good description. If you've watched Air, maybe you can get a hint as to what I'm getting at, because there's a lot of things about Air that were really depressing. And if you're not familiar with Air, maybe Canon would be a good comparison. Like Air and Canon and the stuff that were made kind of like along those lines, Clanad falling under the same sort of umbrella, there's a sort of mystical element to everything. And this one, it doesn't necessarily have that. It has kind of hintings here and there, but there's still this underlying premise that our main character is a time traveler. At least he knows he's a time traveler, but that's all he knows. And what that means, we don't know. What the implications are, we don't know. And I'm not sure if it plays in the most satisfying way, but there are little elements of it that I actually found pretty satisfying. And I don't know how to really talk about them without, really spoiling things. But as a premise, it worked out okay. Especially if you can just enjoy the slice of life that's sort of going on. And it was kind of nice because, again, it has this sort of Air vibe where, characters are interacting, but then there's this thread that kind of pulls you in a direction where you learn something different. And it's a little less mystical, more or less, in Island, but it's still one of those things where you learn interesting things about the characters. And it's kind of interesting because it also, while watching it, felt like it almost ended an episode early. Like, I'm like, okay, but there's one more episode after this. Is it padding? And it turned out to not be padding because there were a couple other loose ends where I didn't know how they were going to address them. And to be honest, they didn't address all of them, but for the most part, it kind of wrapped up in a way where it's like, okay, well, I guess I like where this ended for now. Well, I kind of hope there's not more to it just because it was good, but slightly rocky in some ways. And, there's a couple things that can't take clicks. Anyways, next up, Cells at Work. Where this one was a high priority to me just because, this one had at least made enough news where people talked about it a little bit here and there. You see Platelet Chans on VR chat, although they're not nearly as common as they are in this anime, of course, and not as common as the other VR chat avatars I talked about. But you mostly see things where some people ask, like, doctors, biologists, whatever, about the accuracy of the anime, and they're like, yeah, actually, it's pretty good. And, I'm obviously not there, but from my own layman perspective, it does seem pretty good. Now, we're going to have to go layman there because there is the issue where I just know there's a billion different types of T cells, but I've had trouble tracking which is what, and I don't remember which one is targeted by HIV, and this anime did not cover it. If this anime had covered it, actually that might have made it really easy, because the basic premise of this anime is just personification of cells within the body doing their work within the body, which, you know, has its own mix of representing right ideas with wrong ideas. So as an example, you know, a lot of the bacteria are like, oh, what a comfortable body, I'm going to take over this. And, you know, most bacteria aren't thinking evil thoughts like that, but that's a natural consequence of, oh, well, we want white blood cell to fight the obviously evil bacteria. It's presenting things that way, but it's interesting because some other dialogue isn't exactly that way. Like when they deal with cancer, you know, the episode dealing with cancer, you know, does the evil bad guy thing of, well, you made me suffer by having me run, now let's see how you feel like running away. And, you know, cancer doesn't do that, but it also has cancer saying, I just wanted to live. And, you know, that's a really good description of what cancer's doing. It's not like cancer is malicious and it's like, oh, I'm going to kill this body. And cancer is just cells that happens to, you know, they just reproduce naturally. And they're just trying to reproduce naturally. It's just that they're broken in terms of keeping themselves under control, so they don't know not to destroy the resources of the body. And so they end up killing themselves in the long run by, in the short run, being more successful at reproducing, I guess. And, you know, that's all statistical stuff, but, you know, for the most part, it just means that cancer is just cells trying to live like they normally do. They just aren't following the instructions that every other cell is agreed on in the body. Let's see, I watched this one English dubbed, and it seemed fine to me. I never got the impression that people fell in love with the characters of this per se. So I didn't feel like there was a strong need to go with Japanese with English subtitles. Like I did that for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid because those people loved those specific characters real strongly. So that one gave me the clue that, okay, I'm going to watch that one Japanese with English subtitles. I didn't feel the need for this, and I thought I actually was better off for it. There's one scene in particular that I especially noticed that I was able to pick up on exactly what the anime was doing right then and there at the right timing, and it's because I could understand how they were playing with the inflections in the English dub. So if you get it and you're wondering whether or not to watch Japanese with English subtitles or English dub, well, if you always watch Japanese with English subtitles, that's certainly fine. In fact, if you always do that, you might actually pick up and inflect the same sort of inflection trick they would probably do in Japanese. But it's possible that that moment is just really great because it was in a language that I'm used to speaking, and because the people dubbing it were smart enough to play that card, I guess, for lack of better words. So it's weird things to think about. Probably would have been a better. Probably would have ended off on a better note if I didn't watch the special, because it's not that there's anything wrong with the special, but the season or the series intentionally ends with the two-parter that it does because it's a very blood-centric anime, and that is pretty much the most you know, that's the topic that's like, oh geez, yeah, that would be pretty important. You know, because basically that's the way the series works. It has a topic that it talks about, and it's going to represent this, and it's going to do that, and it's talking about it from the point of view of what happens to the body. You know, it's kind of educational along those lines, but it is also focused on the point of view from usually blood cells. Usually our main characters, red blood cell, white blood cell. A specific red blood cell and a specific white blood cell. It's one of those things where if you like a series with story, this one isn't really it. But it introduces little things here and there. It somehow stays pretty entertaining as it goes. Yeah, I was just trying to think if there was anything in particular I would point out in this. Yeah, I thought it was kind of worth it to watch all of it, especially to get that last episode, 2-episode topic in, I guess. But yeah, fun stuff. And last but not least, Naruto Shippuden DVD set 38. So You know, obviously the friend I've been watching this with, we're watching stuff pretty slowly. So we only finished the first disc of this finally, and that pretty much covers... I'm trying to decide if the previous one could be called a side story or not. I guess it kind of could be. It's showing how certain things are wrapping up conceptually, I guess. But for the most part, it was a complete story arc that we watched, and it was okay. Narratively speaking, there was some jumps, I guess. Like, a couple of little things where you're like, yeah, this is pretty obviously being set up, but whatever, you know, we'll just accept the fact that the bad guys fell for it, I guess. Like, I'm trying to think of what I can explain there, because there's like 3 moments that come to mind, but I guess I can't explain them without giving away what happened, what it's kind of focused on. But it just kind of means that for the most part it had its narrative weaknesses. It had some things about it that were really neat, and in terms of it tying into the main character, it kind of felt like it came to a head in that regard. Like, this is a problem that's been there with Naruto, is when it's about a character other than Naruto, then it's usually about the character other than Naruto. This one kind of managed to tie it back into Naruto himself surprisingly well without actually having the character be there. But I don't know if I can explain that without going into details. Let's just say, you know, that yam what it yam. So let's see. Other than that, I don't think I've got anything particularly noteworthy on the list of stuff I've done. Obviously, I haven't heard from my brother yet, but we'll probably do our normal streaming thing tonight. And, well, yeah. I guess that's pretty much everything for this week's update. So, y'all, have a nice week.